Hello everyone, welcome back to the TPF channel. Thanks for joining us today. Today's project is installing a new water softener into our new house. We've been here 2 weeks now, and this has never had a water softener. It is pre-configured, has all the piping and the bypass already ran to have a water softener installed. That's pretty common in the last 20-ish years, 30-ish years, but not every house has it pre-plumbed to be able to just hook it right up. You might have to do it yourself. So let's walk around here a little bit. I'll show you a few things that we got to think about. So before you go to do this, there's the pre-plumbed bypass and everything right there on the wall. So those two tubes that are capped off they're made to have a water softener hooked up to them. Just cut those caps off. You got to think before you actually start this project. You got to shut off the main. You need a tubing cutter to cut the copper tubing or the PVC. You have to, these two little, the inlet outlet there, those on this one, they're at 1 inch. It tells you in your user manual what size they are. So mine are 1 inch, and so I had to go buy the tubing connectors that'll go from 1 inch and connect to the pipe there. Those don't come with the water softener. The water softener comes with valve, the tubing for the discharge, and the power supply to run it. And then this is your salt bin. You'll fill that up, and you can see on the sides there it tells you how full it is. So this is an A.O. Smith water softener. We got this at Lowe's. You know, preferably you use a good brand. I usually use my plumber friend, but I need soft water now. It's drying my skin out, my kids, and make you itch. And it's really hard on your appliances. It's really hard on your skin, your hair. So I'm a firm believer in a water softener. If you don't want the sodium added to your water, which is not that much, honestly, you can use a potassium chloride, chlorine, something, I don't know. But it's about 3 times the cost of using salt. So we've already went to the store. We got our connectors. We bought the solar salt while we're there. I always use solar salt. I don't know if I've always been told to use that by my plumber friend. So they make pellets, and they make pellets with rust remover. I've always been told not to use the rust remover version unless you live like on a well and you got really bad rust, because it just kind of gums up your system, according to what I've been told. And then you got to plan. Like I'm going to slide this right back here so it'll connect. And that first pipe, it's just a PVC pipe, CPVC actually, but that's the drain from my water heater. So I will cut that off down by the floor. It's actually all the farther it needs to go. I believe it's supposed to be within 6 inches of your floor. And then I'll remove that tube going across there, and then it'll slide back in there. I won't have to mess with that back one, which is actually the drain for my air conditioner. You also got to plan where you're going to drain the discharge of the water softener. Most code, I believe, says you're not supposed to put it into your normal drainage system. You should drain it out into your yard, or but it's not supposed to go into normal sewer discharge drains, I believe. I don't know how frequent that is around the country as far as code goes, but I think that's the code here. Now I'm actually going to drain mine down into the softener, or into the sump pump, because the sump pump pumps out of the yard. And many people would say it might kill my grass because it's got salt in it. I've done it before. I've never had any problems. think you just gotta see. I mean, if it starts killing your grass, then you have to reroute it. But that's my plan for now. I've also ran it into like perimeter drains before, so it's underground. That seems to work. But anyway, the first step is getting your water shut off at the main, so that you can cut these and hook them up. Now, since this is already pre-plumbed, it's pretty easy for me to trace back. I know that right side is the main coming in. I know that because I could trace the left side and I'll see that it runs over to my hot water heater. It wouldn't go through the hot water heater first. So then I have to trace that right side until I find, and that goes up and over until I find the main shut off. And I trace it all the way. You can see the pipes up there. Comes in right there, and you can see the main shut off there. So I've shut it off already. I have went to the store and bought the little pipe tubing cutter. I have bought the connectors to connect from the water softener to the plumbing. I bought the salt already. So I think I'm pretty ready to do this project. So I actually have this already on here and have started it. Remember, even though I shut off the main, all this pipe from the main over there all the way here is still full of water, and so is all of this pipe. So you need to think a little bit about what you're getting ready to do, because when I cut this, you can see it's dripping now. When I really pop it off, all that's going to drain out. Now I'm right here, it's just going to drain into my sump pump. But you might not be in that situation. So think about what's going to happen when all that water comes out. Maybe have a bucket or something ready. I will actually, this right side won't be bad because it's not that much. But this left side, I'm down in the basement. I could drain, the whole house could drain down through this in reverse and come out when I cut that. So what I will do is shut this valve off. I will cut this off. I'll put the connector on it. I'll get the softener already slid back here pretty close. I'll put the connector on the other side of the outlet side of the softener, and I'll be ready to slide the connector on here. And so when I cut that, when water starts coming out, I will quickly slide my shark bite connector on there, and hopefully I'll be able to get it on there without draining the whole house of water. But again, if I do, I don't care, because mine's going right into the pit. So, but that might not be your case, so just think about it. You could have a lot of water coming out. And also, if you're doing this, understand you don't have water coming in. So if somebody's trying to take a shower or something, this tank, you don't want it to drain. This is your hot water heater. If it drains when you have no water feeding into it, and then it kicks on to heat up water and there's no water in there, you'll fry that thing. So you want to make sure nobody's using water when you have the water off and when you start this project. It's actually a fairly simple project. You need like a crescent wrench to be able to tighten the connector to the softener, which I'll show you those connectors here in a bit. But when you screw them on here, you want to snug them up a little bit with the crescent wrench. You'll have to have an outlet. This is already pre-wired, so I'll plug right in. I'm good to go. If you don't have an outlet close, you got to figure out where you're going to plug in at, or your water softener will not work. So I think we're ready to get started, and so I will try to set this down so you can see what I'm talking about when I'm cutting this off, and hopefully you'll get a good video out of this. So again, my main is shut off. Doesn't really matter which way you turn this, I don't think. So you can see that's squirting out water already. I'm starting to get closer. You can kind of cup your hands around it to keep it from shooting everywhere. Just it'll run straight down. But like I said, this is going to want to drain all that water all the way back to the main shutoff. So there will be quite a bit of water. And you just have to keep tightening this a little. And these small ones are kind of actually hard to tighten. Might have to have a wrench. I'm actually going to let that just drain. If I keep doing it, it's just going to soak me wet. So right now, I'm going to let it drain. I'm going to turn off this valve so it doesn't drain the whole house. Like I was telling you, you got a plan. I wasn't even thinking. So, okay. So you can see, I shut this valve off. All that water. So that means all that was draining from the house. So you can see how much water was trying to come out. So I might be in for a crazy situation when I go cutting this side off. So right now I'm just going to keep cutting this one, get it off. And I'm going to go get the tubing that I have, the connector, and you can see that this is kind of slimed up from when they worked on it to install it. You don't want it, you can't have a lot of bumps on there, so if there's a lot of extra old soldering on there, that's not good. But I'm going to go up, I think it's called emery cloth. It's just like a cloth sandpaper to smooth this all off and make it nice. You gotta think you got a fitting that's sliding on there, and it's got to seal up good. So I'm gonna grab that. I'm gonna grab the fittings and be right back. Okay, I am back. So these are my connectors, one for each side. This goes on the softener, and this is a quick connect. Goes on there. This can go to, I think, CPVC, go on PEX, can go on copper, but it's called, most of them are called Shark Bites. That's the actual brand. There's other brands, but then this is actually the cloth I was talking about. And this is what you need to use. And so I just brought a piece of copper down just to show, like, if you just literally, you can see how shiny. And so when you're doing soldering, you put your flux on and do your soldering, and that makes it all seal really, really well. We're not using soldering, but this fitting has to slide up on there and seal really well. So if it's not good, clean, and smooth, it won't do that. So this one's in somewhat rough shape, so I'm gonna have to do quite a bit of effort on this. Yeah. So you can see feels like it's getting pretty smooth. back there is good. There's a little piece up front here. See if I can get that to... Yeah, that's... You can feel just a little, but I think I'm good. You're really sealing down here at the bottom, so it just needs to be just a hair. I'm going to go ahead and do this side, because like I said, it's all about planning and prep on any project. Plan, replan, replan. Make sure you got everything in your head of what you're going to do. Visualize it. You hear them talk about visualizing a game or a shot in sports. The same thing with this stuff. Visualize what you're doing. Because I'm thinking, you saw all the water coming out. When I cut this one, water's going to go everywhere. And I need to be able to slide that fitting on as fast as possible. So I need this all pre-cleaned and ready to go. So when I cut it, all I'm going to do is slide that fitting on there. Otherwise, I'm going to drain the whole house full of water. Now, if you do need to drain your whole house full of water, you go upstairs and open all the faucets, all the way at the top, let air in, and then come down and open up whatever valve you're going to use to drain your house. But otherwise, if you don't open up your sink valves or what have you, the air will sit and it'll take forever. It'll just keep dripping out and dripping out. Open up those sinks, let the air in there, it'll all drip out. It'll run out fast. So I got a little bump on this one that I'm trying to get rid of. So it feels pretty good. There's something back here too. There's some solder that's run down, I think, from up here, or just a lot of maybe calcium. I don't know if it leaked a little. Sometimes they don't get all your solder joints perfect. There's a little bit of leak. It'll eventually seal itself up with calcium and stuff usually. So it could be something like that. There we go. Okay, so then when I cut, I'll cut right in here, and we'll be good to go. I went and got a pair of channel locks. Now, I know if you're using in the old compression fittings where you tightened them down, if you're using like tubing, plastic tubing, they had these little metal inserts that slid in, and it gave that copper band that you were compressing something solid, because you couldn't really do it with a plastic. This is kind of the same concept. If you got PEX, or some type of plastic you're using, this goes in to help sturdy it and make it stronger. Now the manufacturer says that this doesn't restrict water flow. I disagree with that. I don't know if it's true or not, but it seems to. And when you have copper, now they probably tell you not to do that, but I just pull it out because you don't honestly need it in there when you're using a rigid copper like I'm using. So I'm just literally gonna so you saw it slide up, and it's a little hard. It feels like it's on, but you got to keep messing with it. You'll know when it's all the way slid on, because It goes about 1/4 inch, and then you're like, did I get it on? I need to cut this thing off like I said I was going to. So in cutting PVC, most people, CPVC, PVC, most people use just a hacksaw. This is like a mini hacksaw, cuts right through it. There are also tools like this for, usually for CPVC, 3/4 to 1/2 inch, and you just literally chomp down through that. See if I can turn this so you can see. I'm just gonna cut here. It's just like a ratchet. Now when these get older, they don't always cooperate. There you go. They get kind of, sometimes they get too flexible, but now you can see that's out of our way. So I can slide this back now. For now, I'm just trying to get it close enough. I'm just trying to get it close enough that I can connect this to there. Now, remember, I gotta look at my labels. That's in, so I want this one to go over here. So I'm gonna connect that. Then I'm gonna take the other one and connect it to here, and then I'll go back, cut this off like I said, and hopefully slide that on there quickly. So I'm gonna try and do all this and not ruin my camera. Add in trying to video while you're working on projects can be challenging, and I almost stepped in my sump pit. I need my stand to hold my camera. Alright, well, I'm just going to screw that on there. You're just not going to be able to watch because I'm not going to go get my stand right now. Literally just screws on there like any normal nut or and you should use a crescent wrench to tighten that. I can't find mine because I just moved, so I'm just going to use channel locks. You want to make it snug, but you don't want to over tighten this stuff. I mean, you can break these pieces of plastic and stuff. So there you go. I got that one into the inlet, and that goes to my cold water. And now I'm going to grab this other piece and hook it to the outlet side. Snug it up. And you can watch after you've done this, see if it's leaking. So you can tighten it up more. I'll slide this back more once I get this cut off. Get all my tools out of the way here. I like to kind of clear everything away and think about the fact that I'm probably going to have water squirting everywhere before I start cutting this thing. So open this all the way up. sure you're down into that area that you cleaned all up. Nice and smooth down there. And just start turning it. Don't get in a rush to crank this sucker down. Like I turn it many times before I start trying to tighten it more. That's for a couple reasons. Number one, you don't want to, if you have the bigger tool, you can actually like bend the copper. It's really hard to do with this one with such a little knob. But you want to keep the copper good and round or it's not going to seal. So that's the most important. And if you try to do it too fast, it's just harder. So just turn it a little more, tighten the knob a little more. You just keep doing it round and round, and then all of a sudden you'll start getting a little squirt out of water coming out of a little seam, and then all of a sudden it'll just break off. So now this one's going to flood us, I know it. Water's going to come shooting out. I'm going to get this over here prepared. These little ones are really hard to tighten down. Especially if you've used them a couple times and get some dirt or something in the grooves. So I'm going to take this and just barely tighten it a little bit. Because I can't get my hands on it good. I need to oil this thing a little. You got to be careful too if you like grab it here and you go to turn it, you can actually get your hand pinched in there and cut yourself. So you kind of just want to make sure you stay away from the opening with your hand and keep trying to connect to on the outside portions of this tool. Okay, this is going to start leaking soon, no doubt. I'm in no hurry because I know it's going to really start getting me wet. See how it's starting to spray out? So again, I'm going to put it's spraying out now and dripping. I'm going to keep my hands around this so I don't get water up here in this electrical outlet or all over my camera or my phone. Once I get this far enough, it's just going to pop off and then just probably be a stream. There it is. There we go. Okay, like I said, lots of water, no big deal for me, but that could be a big deal for you. make sure you're prepared. And you got it. It's connected. Okay, we're running out of battery quickly. So I got this level. I just put some shims on this side. Remember, this is plastic. It's going to have a lot of water, so try to don't have like one really focal point that could like break the plastic. You want to try to have it setting on something pretty level and pretty secure all the way across to the bottom. This is the drain. It's for a drain tube. It doesn't come with the tube, and it's a 1/2 inch. You don't have to have a tube if you wanted to run it over to a sump pump. It's just, this is your overflow drain tube. So if for some reason the float inside gets stuck or doesn't work and it doesn't shut off and water keeps pumping in here, it'll go into this overflow. It'll start coming out this little thing. And there's just a hole in the back. It's actually on this one, they don't even have threads on it. The thread is on the little elbow, but it's not on the hole. Just kind of got a self-thread in. And what most people do and what I'm doing is just pointing that down, because I'm in the basement and I got the sump pump right there. If it overflows, it'll just start running down towards that. I could go by tubing, put on there, and put it directly in the drain, but I am not worried about that. Then I have this. This is actually the backwash drain. So when you cycle, when your water usage has been high enough and it cycles, it will backwash. That's how it cleans itself. And that's what drains out. That's what goes, well, it's loaded with salt. It'll kill your grass or what have you. That's what you're like always watching for. So, since this is plastic on plastic, I shouldn't need Teflon tape. A lot of times you use Teflon tape to make sure it doesn't leak. There's no real pressure on this either. It's an open end. It's just a drain. So it is pumping out quickly, but it's not pressurized. So I don't think it'll leak at all. So you just screw that in the hole right here. And then this does come with the tubing. So this is the tubing for that drain. And that, you might have to find something longer, depending where you're going to discharge this thing. And you really should put a hose clamp on here because it will blow off. It doesn't come with one. For now, I'm just going to slide it on there. It says you don't have to use one, but to be safe, you might want to. So, for now, I'm not going to, because I'll have to go dig through my stuff and find one that would fit. But it's all hooked up. Let me show you. So, right there on that little section, you can see the little white piece I screwed in. You can even see the ridges where I slid the drain hose on it, and then it runs behind. And then right there you can see the overflow valve or elbow, and I just got it pointed down. So we're connected. We got the supply lines and the inlet and outlet connected. We've got the discharge line connected, and we got the overflow part connected. Now you want to put this, you can see on the labels there, try to make this so you can see. It says bypass on the left side and service on the right side. So when it's in bypass mode, that means, as I talked about earlier, so earlier I mentioned this bypass. Save my battery. So this is a bypass, and I'm going to have it closed now because now I want it to run down into my softener and back up here. So make sure this is closed. Now I also have a second bypass built in on this, and it's in bypass mode. So right now it would just go here through the actual thing and right back up here. It wouldn't go in here and process. Now you want it that way right now because I'm going to go turn my water main on, and then I'm going to turn my faucet on upstairs. Alright, let's do a little recap. I got some light shining on here, so I think you hear that little beep. That's because it says that it's low on salt. It says I can silence beeping by hitting OK. We've got it hooked up back here. We did all the plumbing part. We got the drains all ready. We got the thing plugged in. It says I need to program this. Menu. Hardness. I've already done the testing on the hardness. This particular water softener comes with this little test kit. So you got hardness and you got pH, and it gives you the instructions how to do it, and then you hold up the little test strip. We've already tested ours. Our pH is really good. It's right at 7, 7.5. That's where it should be. Our hardness is at 15, so a little hard. But that's what I'm going to program. So I'm going to move this down to 15, save it. Check the units are in English. The time says 4:58 a.m. Don't think that's accurate. Unfortunately, I don't know exactly what time it is, but I'm going to say it's probably 8 p.m. Regen time 2 a.m. You want it to run when nobody's using water. I think that's okay. So this is set on to regenerate based off the amount of usage. That means you can usually on the old water softeners it would be a clock and it would run every like 3 days no matter what. This measures how many gallons of water you use, and then will regenerate the night at 2 a.m. when it's triggered. Alarms, it's got low salt and low temp. Wi-Fi, but after you're done with Wi-Fi programming, that's everything. It says to add 5 gallons in here to the tank. So we've already filled up a 5-gallon bucket. We're just going to empty that in. Now this knows what level it should be at. Okay, let's see if it connects to my Wi-Fi. It does. Gives me a spot also to add my email. Okay, we're all good then. I'll go ahead and put the lid on this too. Seems like it's supposed to snap on. This thing doesn't seem to have any desire to snap or do what it's supposed to do. It's not snapped down here either. So the design of this thing is a little poor. There you go. So I did it from the front, then the back. So now that's on. You can see I got a little cover there. It says I have 1,360 gallons of usage before it will regenerate. It's also flashing a light or a message saying the salt is low. Now in the manual it says to go ahead and hit regen. Oh, unfortunately, like an idiot, I didn't turn this to service. And then it says to run a faucet for 20 minutes after you've done this. And then you'll want to run a manual regen. I don't want to wait for that 1,360 gallons. I'm going to run a manual regen either immediately or tonight before I go to bed, so that it gets through one cycle and actually starts getting your water soft. Because if you just go up and immediately start using it, the water hasn't had time to filter through this thing and become soft. So 20 seconds left. I can see the water down in the bottom now. Okay. So it says Wi-Fi is active. So around all the tank and everything, the first time you put salt, there's a lot of crevices and stuff. So I'm just below 3/4. I'm going to go right there. So it's just, the arrow points just below 3/4. I'm going to save it. It says salt level is okay. I'm going to shut that. And then I'm going to go run the water for 20 minutes like it said. And then we'll be back. Okay. So we ran the water for 20 minutes. Should be good and cycled. I'm going to go ahead and regenerate this so that it gets all set. Something to remember is hard water is still in your pipes, so you should go to like every faucet and turn it on try to pump that hard water out and start getting soft water through it. Once this regenerates one time, your hot water heater is full of hard water, so it takes a little time to cycle it all. I'm going to go ahead and start the regen right now. Do you want to start? Yes. Okay, that's done. We will leave it to regenerate. I think it'll take about 40 minutes, and then the first cycle will be all the way done, and then it'll just be, like I said, a matter of flushing out the pipes, getting all the hard water out of there, and leaving just the soft water. So anyway, thank you for watching our channel as always. Make sure and subscribe and hit the like button. Leave any comments, questions you might have. We try to get back to everything that we see. And excited to have soft water very, very soon. Can't wait to run a load of clothes and the dishwasher and everything with soft water, and take a shower in soft water. So much nicer. So anyway, thank you very much, guys.